Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Chasing Larger Sports Stories podcast. Guys, week one has officially come to an end. There was a lot of amazing things that happened week one, a lot of depressing things that happened week one. But nevertheless, we're here to break it down for you. I think Chase is probably feeling a little bit better after week one than what I am right now, but we'll get into that here shortly.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Yeah. Whatever. All right. Well, first game that we have to talk about, the first game of the year, and that was Buffalo and LA. Buffalo won 31-10. I think, Chase, you and I both had the Rams winning this game. So we are both 0-1 to start that. What was your immediate thoughts of the Buffalo Rams game?
Stafford and the Rams laid an egg, and Buffalo played extremely well. I had nothing against Buffalo, and I knew that they were going to be great, but I thought the Rams were just going to pick up where they left off last year, and it was going to be like a close game, the Rams winning by like 3 or something.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, I was very surprised by just how good the Bills actually looked. I mean, they looked like they could do almost no wrong, other than a few mistakes that they made on their own behalf. This game could have been even bigger had they been a little bit more protective of the ball. So, I mean, needless to say, it goes to show you Buffalo looks like the team to beat right now. And the Rams, we're going to have to see if they get better. Next games. New Orleans comes back from behind, almost losing to Atlanta, but Will Lutz gets the game-winning field goal to win on the road 27-26. What was your thoughts of that one? I think you and I both had New Orleans winning that one.
We did. We did not expect the Falcons to put up that big of a fight against an opponent like the Saints. And honestly, it just shows that was one of the games where a kicker came in clutch to win the game for his team.
Yeah, it's one of those situations, man. We just have to keep reminding ourselves, this is the NFL. Like, any team has a chance to win it, even if for some weird reason, like, that team has no realistic reason, somehow it happens. But yep, we both got the win on that one.
No business winning. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was the Cleveland versus Carolina matchup. Cleveland, again, another game where it was decided on a last-second field goal. Cleveland ended up winning 26-24. Your immediate reaction to that game?
I was shocked that Baker and them came back like that. Honestly, I'm not really shocked because I knew how powerful their offense was, but we were dominating them all game long, defensively. For the first 2.5 quarters, and I did not expect them to take off that well. But our young kicker stepped up, made the game-winning field goal when it was needed, and as a rookie, having him in a pressure situation like that was huge. And he stepped up big, and we won our first opening day game for the first time in 18 years.
Yeah, definitely was crazy to say the least for you guys. Hold on a second. I am going to attempt to I'm going to make a document here for you and I, so that way I can keep track of our records for our games.
And no, you picked the Panthers, didn't you?
I did pick the Panthers to win that one. So far through those first 3 games, you're ahead of me by 1. Chicago and San Francisco. You and I both lost this one. Chicago ended up winning at home in a monsoon of a game where they ended up getting 3 or 4 inches of rain the morning prior to that game. And the field ended up flooding because they didn't put any irrigation systems in that would have allowed it to drain. So that field was just an absolute mess. But nevertheless, Chicago ended up winning the game. What was your thoughts on that?
Quick thing, other than Washington, Chicago's field's been known for the most injuries, ankle, knee, whatever it may be, has been known to, get people injured the most. So that's why they kind of swapped out their turf or their regular turf field for a natural field made of actual grass from outside, and they had no time to put the drains in, and so it just flooded. So they just let them play like that. And I honestly feel like that's kind of what screwed San Francisco over because they weren't used to it and weren't ready for it. So it helped Chicago in the long run there.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, both teams had to run the football, and San Francisco losing Elijah Mitchell in that game certainly didn't help matters at all. So that really hurt them. He'll be gone for a long time, apparently.
8 weeks.
And Chicago, at the end of the day, being at home in that situation, it might have just helped them get something figured out. But Justin Fields, I'm glad that he got the season started out right for Chicago. Another game, Pittsburgh against Cincinnati. Pittsburgh ended up winning this game 23-20 in overtime. Again, another game that you and I both messed up. We both said that the Bengals were going to win that one. So, I mean, what was your initial reaction to seeing the craziness happen right there?
Where's that Dwayne the Rock Johnson meme where he goes dog shit like that?
I don't know, man. That was something crazy though.
That's the reaction I got to that game. That just goes to show you how important kicking field goals are in the NFL because damn, they missed so many of them and had so many opportunities to win, going back and forth with the Steelers missing one and the Bengals missing some. And the Bengals had many opportunities to win that game and they just screwed it over.
Yep, the Bengals had every chance, but especially the fact that their early part in the game, they looked terrible. I mean, Joe Burrow looked absolutely horrendous in that game. And, TJ Watt was just creating absolute havoc on them before he went down with his injury. So, I mean, Cincinnati did not look very good at all against Pittsburgh. Hopefully they can get that stuff figured out because it'll be a long, long season. Philadelphia versus Detroit. We both picked the Eagles to win that game, so we both get the win on that. But it was a very close one, to say the least. What was your reaction to this game?
Shocked. The Eagles, I figured their defensive line would actually just tear apart the Lions, get at Jared Goff and stop the run. But Swift had 144 yards rushing and a touchdown in that game. And, man, the offense was lighting it up. I'll tell you what, that Detroit team is going to be a sleeper in the NFC this year. And they are going to shock a lot of people because they only lost by 3. And the fact that they were down by like 3 touchdowns and came back.
That team plays hard, dude. That team plays hard. So, yeah, I mean, they play hard. They'll definitely keep up the pace. The one tie that ended up in this the league this week, the Indianapolis Colts versus the Houston Texans.
Colts let me down.
20. Dude, your reaction to that?
Dog shit.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. And if anyone wants to go and watch my reaction, just go rewatch my stream. Just watch me go from I want to die to happiness to I want to die twice. Just watch it. You'll have a great time. Believe me.
I'll tell you what, this man was so pissed.
Chase was pissing me off just by texting me yesterday while I was in the middle of streaming this. I'm like, Chase, leave me the hell alone. I do not want to talk about the Colts right now.
So, you played the Houston Texans. How did you lose?
We didn't lose. We didn't win either, though.
How did you tie? How did you tie?
I don't know. You want to know why we tied? Because our kicker can't make a 42-yard field goal. That's why. Anyways, we move on. Miami versus New England. Miami, with its new regime, gets the win down in Florida, 20-7 over New England. We ended up, I think we both chose Miami, did we not?
I think so. I chose Miami.
I know I chose Miami as well. I said it could have been New England, but I went with Miami in the end of it. So your initial reaction to that?
I kind of had a feeling it was going to be Miami with that team, Mike McDaniels. It's all depending on what he's going to do at coach, but with that team, it's really good this year, and they're going to be a dog in the AFC and be fighting. But not only that, the Patriots played the Dolphins at Miami. They usually lose at Miami every year. So it's the same thing with the Colts losing at Jacksonville every year. So
Yeah, I definitely thought it was cool that, Miami has all their pieces around them, and they clearly showed that, all these pieces with Tua, they can win some games. So hopefully that's what we'll get to see going forward. Here we go. Baltimore versus the Jets. Baltimore squeaked out 24-9 over the Jets. I know you had selected the Jets for this one. That was one of your upsets. Obviously didn't get that one. I chose Baltimore, but your reaction to the Jets and the Baltimore game?
well, I know that Sauce played extremely well. He did not allow a single touchdown that game.
He allowed one reception for 8 yards.
Yeah, one
That's
reception,
it.
no touchdowns. Still,
Yep, still. Yeah. I mean, he just absolutely just keeps manhandling people.
but
So
I know he's going to be on Amari Cooper this week because we've got the Jets and everything. So, but all I got to say is the Ravens played the freaking Jets. I'm still not, sold on Lamar for this season. I got to see more out of him against great teams, and, got to see more out of his arm because I'm in a TikTok battle with a lot of people about Lamar and whether or not his contract was worth it and everything like that. And then they just throw Watson's in the face. Like, I didn't even ask about Watson's. I said something about Lamar's, but you know what? We'll get into this. And I pull out the stats on how Watson's better, but that's neither here nor there, and a story for another time. So
yeah, and Chase, I completely forgot, bro. I have one of these meetings at 3 here. I thought it was 4 o'clock my time when we would have it, but I forgot it's Eastern time. So unfortunately, here in 20 minutes, I'm gonna have to leave. You can stream it if you want to and talk about all the stuff that we talked about, but I'm gonna have to get off.
hey, no worries.
Yep,
We'll
sir.
finish the week. We'll finish the recap, and then we'll go to our next topic, and we could call it for this stream.
Okay.
So
We can talk about some of these injuries and stuff in tomorrow's video.
yeah, we'll do a quick run through of the
Okay.
injuries and stuff. So
Awesome. All right. Jacksonville versus Washington. Washington squeaked out a win over the Jaguars. You and I both selected the Commanders to win this game. Your thoughts on the Commanders squeaking out the win?
Wentz played really well. He played extremely well, which is a shocker. And, I'm telling you what, don't be shocked if Jahan Dotson becomes wide receiver number 1 over Terry McLaurin.
Yep, it'll be interesting enough to say the least. All right, let's see here. Next game, and that was the Giants versus the Tennessee Titans. Another game where a kicker cost another team the win, and the Giants won their first season opener since 2009. Did it in dramatic style. Saquon Barkley with 194 rushing yards in that game. I mean, what do you think of the Giant?
No. It was 164.
164. And then I think he had 194 of total yards. What was your thoughts of the Giants pulling off the upset here?
I watched that game after the
So did
Browns
I.
game was over, and oh my gosh, that Brian Daboll really is shocking. I'm not gonna crown him yet, but I'm telling you what, if he keeps this up, he's got the Giants playing with some fire, some intensity, and some passion. And he's making Daniel Jones actually look good. Like, actually look good. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, tell me about it. And then we have Kansas City over Arizona. Patrick Mahomes looked like the same old Patrick Mahomes we always remember.
You can't go against him.
They blow out the Arizona Cardinals 44-21. Your thoughts on Kansas City's win over Arizona?
Oh, easy. Everybody wanted to, dog on Patrick Mahomes. You've lost Tyreek Hill. You've lost your edge. It's never going to be the same, blah, blah, blah. And, Mahomes did his Mahomes thing and showed that he's still the best QB in the league, threw for 5 touchdowns and over 350 yards.
Yep. And then we had the Chargers versus the Raiders. Close bout at the end, but the Chargers did come out with a win. I think you and I both had the Chargers to win this game. Your thoughts on this one?
I thought the Raiders were going to put up way more of a battle than that, and instead of laying a big egg, they came out and played bad and laid an egg, and the Chargers exposed them. And kudos to the Chargers for winning.
Yeah, tell me about it, right? And then you and I both lost this one. Minnesota winning the game against Green Bay. Minnesota looked very good. And I mean, Justin Jefferson, again, reminding people why he's in the conversation of best wide receiver in the NFL, might have just potentially gave that more of an argument. And, they just ended up putting a beat down on Green Bay. Your thoughts on Minnesota winning this game?
Kevin O'Connell. That's the only thing. Kevin O'Connell has I've been saying for years the Vikings need a new head coach on an offensive system, a guy coming from Sean McVay's system, and just revamping that offense, making Jay Jettis look really good, making Kirk Cousins look like a freaking MVP. And I'm telling you what, there's going to be another Triple Crown wide receiver this year. It's not going to be Cooper Kupp. It's going to be Jay Jettis.
That'll be interesting. That will be interesting. And then the last two games here, Tampa Bay over Dallas, 19-3. Wasn't quite as high scoring as what we thought, especially when we saw that Prescott went out. Your thoughts on Tampa Bay winning this game?
I mean, it's Tom Brady. It's the Buccaneers. That team's built. It's the Cowboys have laid an egg. Not to mention that they lost so many pieces this offseason, offensive wise. And honestly, looking at Dak and the way he's playing, he looked scared. He looked timid. Looked like he was not fully prepared to take any hits. Looks like he was not prepared to take risks, and it looks like he was missing Amari Cooper a lot in that game. So.
Mm-hmm. And then the final game of it, and that was Denver losing to Seattle, which you and I both said that we thought Denver was going to win this one, but Seattle ended up pulling it out. A little bit of controversy at the end of that game, which I definitely think we'll have to talk about in the next one. But your thoughts on that game specifically?
Yeah, and again, we'll get into some of these topics again with tomorrow's cast. I could stay after and talk about a lot of this stuff, but it wouldn't be the same, not having the ideas bounce off of each other. So we'll kind of cut it after our next topic and everything, and like leave it at that. And then we'll just go do a quick rapid fire of all these topics tomorrow, and then go in with what we're gonna say. But my reaction of this game is Geno Smith, man. Holy cow! Who knew that he still had it in him, and who knew that he could come out on firing on all cylinders and win this game for the Seahawks? And another example of how kicking is important in these games. But, Denver had a chance and they screwed it over.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was impressed by the game plan of the Seattle Seahawks. I felt it was very smart of the game plan that, Geno was making very smart throws throughout this game and wasn't giving the Broncos any chances to, convert off of his mistakes, which I thought was a great way to see it, because you want to execute a game plan where you get the ball out quick. You want to get it into your playmakers' hands and let them make some plays. And, and especially with that, he threw a couple deep down the field that had a couple good throws. And, Denver obviously needs to fix a lot of things. Denver shouldn't have allowed Seattle to move the way that they did, but at the end of the day, that's just kind of how it is. But I think one last topic we can talk about before I got to go. But I do want to talk about that game specifically, because we saw at the end of the game, Chase, I was watching the Manning cast yesterday, and I was looking at it, and they're like, why are we kicking a 64-yard field goal here? Why? There was a 4th down and 5. You had another timeout. If you had gotten, you had timeouts. If you could have gotten 5, maybe 10 yards on that play, then you had a chance to make it an even more successful opportunity. But on top of it, you end up not putting it in your best player's hands, and said with 20 seconds left that we would rather take our chances on a guy who had never made a field goal from that distance before. He made a 61-yarder. That was a career high for him. But then you're asking him to add on to his career high and try to make that. And then he ended up not making it. I mean, why do you think that was the right choice for them?
I mean, I can see where he's coming from, just because like all games, Seattle's kind of been like stalling Denver, and Denver really hasn't gone anywhere and all that. And I could understand going for it if it was like like 2 yards, 3 yards, but 5 yards, that's a significant distance to try to cover. And even if they get this, like there's still no guarantee that they're gonna get that, because it could be a quick screenplay to Jerry Jeudy to try to get him to run outside and go to the pylon, but like, or not to the pylon, to the sideline and get the first down. But there's still a chance that play could have blown up. And I understand everybody's feelings behind that, but I personally think that what you should have done is you should have gone all out and let Russ run the ball and like have a couple blockers in front of him, because you had 2 timeouts left with like 30 seconds or 20 seconds left on the
20
clock.
seconds,
like,
yeah.
Like, for crying out loud, like he wasted those timeouts at the end, calling timeouts for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
What was the point in that? And I'm just telling you one thing, like Nathaniel Hackett is good, but he made some dumb decisions as a head coach for his first game. Like, he's better. He better clean that up and do a lot better this next week, or the Denver Broncos aren't going nowhere this year.
There's only one guy in the NFL that you should trust to nail a kick over 60 yards in this league, and that's Justin Tucker. And last I checked, Justin Tucker is not on the Denver Broncos. Like, I just don't understand. It was terrible time clock management for the last minute of the whole game. There was a time when they were at the 40-yard line to begin with. They called a timeout for no reason, like 20 seconds later than what they should have and to begin with. And then, like, when you call that timeout there, even if they have one timeout, even then, like, getting 5 more yards, that increases your probability to make that kick by about 10%. That increases the probability of making that kick by another 10% had they moved up just 5 more yards.
Oh, yeah.
Then it wouldn't have been a 64-yarder, would have been a 59-yarder. Then if they made another 5 yards, then it would have made it a 54-yarder. Perfectly capable with any real kicker in the NFL to be able to make that kind of kick. It's long, but you still feel comfortable with your kicker's ability to make that kind of kick. And especially for a guy, like we said before, has a career long of 61. So 54 is definitely within his leg power to make. But it also just enables you to be more accurate in that situation when you're kicking it 10 less yards than the yardage you had before. And it just made no sense that with 20 seconds left, you don't put it in the hands of your best player. You paid this guy $250 million to come in and be clutch in situations where your team needs it. And you said, no, we'll take our chances on a 64-yard field goal with a guy who's never made a kick from that distance before. Like, what does that show? That shows no confidence. That shows no confidence in late game scenarios when you needed it. Like, Russell Wilson in that moment, who had Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, all these freaking boys out here that were doing really well at the beginning of this game. And for some reason, the coach said, I don't have confidence in us getting these 5 yards. Like, are you serious? I don't care what the statistics or analytics say about what was the smart decision there. Asking anyone to kick a 64-yard field goal when you could have been in a better position to put yourself in by going for it in that situation, that is terrible game management. That is a terrible decision to have made. Denver lost this game because they wanted to play. Somehow they thought that was the safe route. I don't know how that's safe when you're asking somebody to make a 64-yard field goal. It's not safe.
Yeah, it really is not. And like the fact that Nathaniel Hackett, came from the Packers in an offense where they were always aggressive and always going for it. And you would think that, yes, he's not Aaron Rodgers, but he's Russell freaking Wilson. He's still a great QB and still good at what he does. Like, let him do what he's there to do. And that's to lead this team to victory and a division title and eventually, hopefully, a Super Bowl at some point with the Denver Broncos. And like the thing is, he is a top 10 quarterback in this league. Anybody else from the Broncos past, I can understand you having the hesitation with putting them under center and trying to get five more yards. But this is Russell freaking Wilson with the weapons that he has, and you're making it seem like he can't do it.
Yeah, almost any quarterback you would have this scenario. But look, it's almost everything you would rather, at least me personally, I think the majority of the populace, and I assume probably you would feel the same way, is that in the scenario where you had 20 seconds, it's 4th down and 5. You have the ball at the 47-yard line. You know that for 99% of kickers in this league, that is too long of a field goal. And 4th down and 5, you have a top quarterback with a couple decent guys out there. I assume the majority of people would say, I would rather take my chances of my offense getting one more play for 5 yards. One play, 5 yards. If we can't get it, then at the end of the day, I would sit there and say, okay, we lost the game because we just couldn't get it done in all facets. At the end of the day, it was the right decision to make. But at the end of the day, but you're leaving it open to more terrible news coming out, because now you not only told people you don't have confidence in your offense, but you're now at people questioning your coaching ability, because why would you ever want to try to make a guy kick a 64-yard field goal in that attempt? I mean, it just makes no common sense to think that was the best case scenario, was to send a kicker out. You asked, stop the world there for a split second. Ask every American in the country what they would have done. I guarantee you 75 to 80% of people would have said it is the best idea for you to go and get 5 yards. If you lose the game off of not being able to get 5 yards, okay, we lost the game because we just couldn't get 5 yards. I understand that. But now you're saying we lost the game because we couldn't make a 64-yard field goal. Well, no shit. Of course not. You got to be better with the situational awareness than that.
And I could also understand, too, if he didn't have any timeouts in his back pocket and he's just like, okay, if we go for it and something happens, that's a lot of time wasted off the clock, and we'd have to rush up and spike the ball if we made it. But, the thing is, you had 2 timeouts in your pocket sitting there that you wasted because you had no reason to use them. You had 20 seconds left, 2 timeouts, and you had to get 5 yards with a Super Bowl winning quarterback, Russell Wilson, under center for your team, with a lot better team that he had the past couple of years from Seattle that he has now. And you're telling me that you don't trust him to get 5 more yards? It's like, dude, nobody would have been upset if you lost the game going for it on 4th and 5 and losing the game because they didn't get the 5 yards. Because at least you made a smart decision, realizing this is a 64-yarder. He is not going to make a 64-yarder. If we can get him in within 59 or more, he has a lot better chance. And he would have. If they had 5 more yards, that kicker would have made it, because it went just to the left as he kicked it. And I'm telling you, it was a dumb decision. It would have been more, reasonable to do that if he didn't have any timeouts. But the fact that they had 20 seconds left on the clock is what's not helping his case either.
Yep, 100%. I think that you and I both agree that it was just not the right decision. Time management could have been handled a lot better in that situation. But all right, like I said, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Sorry to end it so short. We had a bunch of other things, but I forgot I had a whole bunch of meetings sooner than what I thought. But thanks, Chase, for hanging out with me and doing this. And we'll be sure to cover the rest of what we didn't get to today and more tomorrow as well.
Yep, this is the Chasing Larger Sports Stories podcast. Tune in next time. Make sure you guys watch and stay tuned and get it out there. Thank you.